This is from boundingintocomics.com. Star Wars editor Marcia Lucas decimates Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams over sequel trilogy. Star Wars editor Marcia Lucas, who worked on the original Star Wars film, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, called out Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams for their destruction of the Star Wars franchise. Basically, there was a recently published book titled Howard Kazanjian, A Producer's Life, by recently passed Star Wars author J.W. Rensler. In the book, as reported by a YouTuber, Open Airlock Policy, Lucas described the sequel trilogy storylines as terrible. I like Kathleen. I always liked her. She was full of beans. She was really smart and really bright, really wonderful woman. And I liked her husband Frank. I liked him a lot. However, she then added, now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. They don't get it. And she went on and talked about some of her problems with the movies. 7, 8 and stuff specifically. She specifically pointed to the killing of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, and J.J. Abrams is writing these stories. When I saw the movie where they killed Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. And she thought, you don't get the Jedi story, you don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo, and then at the end of this last one, because this book was written before 9 came out, which surely she'd hate that too, because it was trash. But anyway, then at the end of this last one, The Last Jedi, they have Luke disintegrate. They killed Han Solo. They killed Luke Skywalker. They don't have Princess Leia anymore. And they're spitting out movies every year. And she said, and I think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. So now their main character is this female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but we don't know how she got Jedi powers or who she is. It sucks. The storylines are terrible. Just terrible. Awful. Lucas then added, you can quote me, J.J. Abrams, Kathy Kennedy, talk to me. And, and it goes on, and it talks more about, because Jedi Scum 83 on Twitter, this is the specific passage where all that come from. But then she talked about all this other stuff, and then she talked about, because there was all this talk about how she was the one responsible for like A New Hope and everything. And here's she talking about episode 1. George is, in his heart and soul, a good guy and talented filmmaker. I wish he would have kept directing other kinds of movies. But when I went to see episode 1, I had a friend who worked at ILM who took me as a guest to a preview. I remember going out to the parking lot, sitting in my car and crying. I cried. I cried because I didn't think it was very good. And I thought he had such a rich vein to mine, a rich palette to tell stories with. And he had all these characters. I thought his weird story was about this little boy who looked like he was 6 years old. But then later he's supposed to get with this princess who looked like she was 20 years old. There were things I didn't like about the casting and things I didn't like about the story. And I think I didn't like, it was a lot of eye candy, Lucas added. And, Mark Hamill has some quotes and stuff, and he's talking about the age of social media, people's voices are amplified, and all this kind of stuff. And it's just, basically, there's a growing list of people who are just shitting on the sequel trilogy, or whatever you want to call it. Basically episodes 7, 8, 9. They just weren't good movies. They made bad decisions. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the whole, I have a problem with Han dying. Because number one, Harrison Ford didn't want to play Han Solo anymore. It was probably the only reason he came back is so he could get killed in 7. But at the same time, it's like, here's someone who worked on the actual movies, the actual original movies, and she's shitting all over it. She's being nice about saying, hey, these are good people. Kathy Kennedy's a good person, but these movies suck. And it's like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're just cookie cutter garbage. They don't make a lot of sense. They're nice eye candy, I suppose, but they just too many bad things to name. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video quick. I'll go ahead and wrap this up here. I've already gone 4 minutes. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting book. I would recommend it to people because it talks not just about this. It talks about, a huge swath of Hollywood movies and things of that nature. It's just interesting. Anyway, like I said, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and have a good one.